easy for a rider to be at the front of the field and then make a mistake, and then it's tough to make up that ground again. Mario Aji, we can see here, he ended up finishing 6th yesterday, but there was a big gap between him and the front 5.
There really was. It was a career best result for Aji in the first top 6 for an Indonesian rider since Andy Farid Izdihar back in 2017. So we've had to wait a little while for the Indonesians to come to the fore in CEV Moto3. However, Aji, that top 6 now, he
has become the hunted. Steve English and Kiko Giles bringing you the action over 18 laps, and for the first time, Izan Guevara has the chance of wrapping up the title. He's a 15-point lead over Xavi Artigas, so he can get it done in race 1, but he's likely to be focused on just fighting for the race win and then thinking about the championship thereafter. There's 50 points still up for grabs. We've got 4 riders in title contention, and this really should be an absolute barnstormer for them all, Kiko.
This should be the perfect way to get the morning up and running. It is only 11 o'clock coming up to local time. This is race 10 of 11 of this FIM Moto3 Junior World Championship. The stats coming into this, Steve, I was up late last night doing this. 7 races of 9 so far in 2020 have had riders win from the 2nd row or worse. Of those 5 have been from the 3rd row or worse. We've seen Guevara win from 22nd on the grid, Garcia from 15th. We are in a run of form at the minute in CEV. We have
in Valencia, the penultimate CEV Moto3 race of the season. And as we wait for the red lights to go out, it's Acosta from the pole that's made a good start, but on the front row of the grid, Danny Holgado with a really good start on the number 96. We'll keep an eye in the mid-pack for our title contenders. Xavi Artigas on the 43 and the 28 of Izan Guevara. Guevara trying to get down the inside and pick up a couple of spots, but everyone able to get around pretty cleanly through the initial part of turn 1, but then a lot of riders running wide on the exit. This is where we saw some crashes on the opening lap yesterday. Everyone able to make it through the first couple of corners cleanly.
Everyone making it through the first couple of corners cleanly. Acosta out in front. Second is Holgado. Matsuyama only dropping to 3rd. He did that on the restart yesterday. Garcia 4th, barging through into 5th is Salvador. He gets ahead of Fernandez. 7th at the moment looks like Rueda, so he stayed upright for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Izan Guevara's got a bit of work to do. Looks like he lost a couple of spots in the initial run down in towards turn 1. We'll keep an eye on the number 28, our championship leader. You see there one of the talent bikes able to make that move down the inside. Looks like that could have been Super Mario making the move into turn 6. You can see another rider running off in the background. It looks like Palazzi. Very easy for that to happen as well, Kiko, but we've got to keep an eye on it as well. Track limits are going to be enforced. We saw that yesterday for Jose Julian Garcia. He was given that long lap penalty.
We saw this last year in the championship, standing 2nd and 3rd. They chopped and changed post-race. Up the inside goes Garcia, no, but Matsuyama does. He gets the move done on Holgado. 2nd place for the Japanese. No jump start, so we've got a clean race here. Nothing at the moment to kind of disrupt it, but we are only early days. There is plenty of time, Steve, as you say, for track limits warnings to come.
Yeah, you can see from Matsuyama, he's taking that tighter line on the run into that last corner, but Holgado, is he leaving the door open for another rider to attack down the inside? Not quite, but further down the field you can see Joe Kelso as well, also running inside the top 10. He did his first top 10 finish yesterday on the number 66 machine, so a good start from the Australian rider.
Good start for him. Artigas looking to get ahead now of, I think that's Salvador, as they come and fan out down into turn 1. Look at that, 4, 5, 6 abreast. At one point Guevara coming through, but it is Artigas who gets ahead of Salvador. Now that's one rider between himself and Guevara. Down into the lead goes Matsuyama. So Takuma Matsuyama, from a career best grid position, is leading, but only momentarily. Almost contact there between him and Acosta, and that gives Holgado an opportunity. Not this time, it gives Garcia the opportunity. So Garcia takes advantage of the fighting all around, and he's into 2nd, whilst Acosta now a small breakaway.
Yeah, Xavi Artigas made progress as well. That's Diaz that's gone down, and that's going to, in all likelihood, bring out a red flag potentially, because they get that bike cleared up. But you can see Xavi Artigas doesn't know anything about that right now. He's been able to move himself up into 3rd spot. So for Xavi Artigas, he's moved up from the 3rd row of the grid into 3rd position. You can see that fire for Diaz's bike. Still waiting to see if there's any notification about what's going to happen for that. Still no flags out for it. So the marshals, they're going to have a bit of work to do and a bit of quick work unless we're able to get this race red flagged. You can see for Xavi Artigas, though he's making quick work on the 43. He's up in 2nd spot. Jose Julian Garcia, a title contender, sitting 4th in the championship standings. He's trying to move his way up now into 3rd position as well. You can see there the marshals out to try and remove Diaz's bike, they've at least been able to get that fire put out. Still got another half a lap until the riders get round to that corner. It was down to turn 5 that instant. So for these race leaders, they're just going to try and make sure they're able to keep their noses clean, because Pedro Acosta and Xavi Artigas, they've opened up a small gap to the riders behind them. It's Jose Julian Garcia that's doing the chasing, and in that second group, that's where we've got our championship leader Izan Guevara, the number 28, you can see, just trying to use that slipstream. He's behind what looks like Adrian Fernandez there, but Izan Guevara down in 8th position. His chief championship rival Xavi Artigas up in 2nd spot.
Put the flag out now, and it gets very, very close going into the race 3 this afternoon. Oh dear, don't want to be seeing too much of that, but the fire at the moment looks like we're out. We're going to carry on. That's where it was at turn 3.
Yeah, you can see Diaz on the right hand side there, just still in the gravel trap, but the race is going to go ahead. And for these riders at the front of the field, slow down as they come through that and then back up to race speeds. Now you can see for Pedro Acosta in yesterday's race really was very strong all the way through proceedings. For Alejandro Diaz though, you can see he's just getting a bit of attention now as well. Hopefully Diaz is okay. Yesterday he had a ride through penalty, a bit of an action-packed race for him, but hopefully he'll be able to walk away from that one and still take part in the second race this afternoon.
Yeah, his teammate Adrian Fernandez running well off track there at turn 6. Track limit, Steve, we've said it already, it's a huge part to play in this championship. We always see it in the World Championship, and we're seeing it here as well. Artigas and Acosta though, at the moment, everything's quite neat and tidy for them. They're using their championship contention experience, really. That's why they're there. All of their good results throughout the year, and their racecraft has left them in that position. They're utilising it again today and looking to see if they can make a break. This is the accident. Well, it's after the accident, and yeah, that'll be into the skip, I think, Steve. I don't think they're going to be making any kind of race 3 with that. Maybe, we don't know, but oh dear me, that's left a bit of a mess on the circuit as well with 16 to go.
Yeah, for the marshals having to clear that up, but luckily it's off that racing line, so hopefully it's not going to have any impact for the race leaders when they come through it now in the next couple of seconds. But at the front of the field though, you can see Izan Guevara starting to make progress. He needs to, because Xavi Artigas is at the front, and Artigas of course second in the championship, 15 points behind. Look at all those riders in the background all running wide. One of them was Super Mario Aji on the 34 machine. He's down in 9th spot trying to make sure he's able to back up yesterday's top 6 finish. But at the front of the field, Kiko, we've seen this from Xavi Artigas already this year. Really good racecraft. He's been able to get to the front, and now we really need to see Izan Guevara make that progress too.
We do, but we saw yesterday he will do that throughout the race. He's not one of them riders who goes at it straight away. He comes into the race, he lets the race come back to him, and it's a perfect match at the end. They always, in the last 3 laps, Guevara's there. We saw him come through the field in Aragon. He took the lead and dropped back to 4th, sat in 4th for most of the race. Oh dear, we got a multi-bike accident here. Can't quite see who that is.
One of the talent team riders, so it could be Cook that's gone down there. We'll wait and see if we get a full notice on just who was down in that instant. It looked like there could be 3 riders there at the side of the track. At the time, Max Cook had been up inside the top 20, so we'll keep an eye and see whether it was himself or Scott Ogden in that crash. Ogden, of course, qualified inside the top 10 as well. At the front of the field, though, you can see here for Xavi Artigas and Pedro Acosta, they're trying to open up a little bit of a gap to the riders behind them, but Jose Julian Garcia doing a really good job to close down that gap as well. Make sure he's able to latch on to those 2 race leaders. You can see on the run into the last corner, Acosta, he looked like he might have been half ghosting a move down the inside. Nothing to gain at this stage really by making sure he can get through on the race leader Xavi Artigas, though, so he's just trying to hold back on that. It looks like it's the 31 of Scott Ogden that's gone down there.
Yeah, Ogden, Geiger and Munoz, that's a disaster. They were running just on the fringes of the top 10, so be interesting. Oh dear,
Matsuyama's gone down now as well, and Matsuyama, of course, from the front row of the grid, ran inside the top 5 all the way through yesterday's race. You can see the frustration there for the Asia talent team. That's down at turn 2, and turn 2 is a very easy place to have a crash. Let's see what happened with him, Kiko.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it's turn 14, the last corner. I think he's just going to tuck the front, judging by how graceful it all was. But Matsuyama, he has had a great weekend. He's been a real star this weekend. He's got another chance to redeem himself later on in the day. Back at the front, Acosta leads. We saw him challenging at the last corner last time around, but now he has hit the front. Acosta, he led all of the race yesterday, Steve, until he was pipped on the line really by Guevara in that last corner sort out. Holgado looking on the inside of Garcia, but can't quite get through. So at the moment, they're holding firm. Matsuyama back up and running, but he is way out of contention now.
Yeah, such a shame for Matsuyama at the front of the field. Pedro Acosta, he's not afraid of leading races. He's not afraid of being at the front. He's at 6 podiums through the course of this season, including a race victory in Portimao, and he wants to make sure that he's able to dictate terms at the front of the field. He did this yesterday as well, and just trying to make sure that he's able to stay there, because in a moto3 race, Kiko, it really is a case of having to stay at the front of a group rather than being in the midfield group and just really having to attack and defend at every corner.
This is the thing that Guevara's got to be aware of. We have seen in this race already big crashes, fires, red flags can come out at any moment. So if you can lead at 2/3 race distance, you'll get full points and the race will be declared. If you are downfield, then you have got a big problem. We've got an incident involving Ogden, Munoz and Geiger. That will be reviewed after the race.
Yeah, you saw Javi Ortigas pit forward saying go. So really good instructions there for our championship contender, Javi Ortigas. I think he knows exactly what he has to do, and that's make sure that he's able to win this race. David Salvador trying to get down the inside of Izan Guevara. So Guevara relegated another spot. He's down in the back of this group now as well, and you can see now for Izan Guevara on that number 28, he hasn't been able to make the progress in the opening third of this race, but we saw this yesterday as well. A little bit of a slow burner for him, but when it mattered, he was able to make the moves, so you'd certainly expect to see the 28 able to make some progress from where he is at the back of this leading 7.
Exactly. Jose Rueda running wide there on the exit of turn 5. Guevara with the fast lap of the late. There's something hanging off that 95.
You're going to see the red 37 pop out into turn 1. Not quite close enough, so Ortigas once again able to use that top speed of the Honda. Good bike from the Leopard Honda squad to be able to do that. Further down in the next group, you can see Super Mario's been able to get down the inside of Fernandez, but he's immediately being pushed out wide there as well by the number 67 of Gerard Rieu, and Gerard doing a good job in this race. He was another faller yesterday, and he's been able to recover well, and a bit of a barge down the inside that time for Adrian Fernandez, and Fernandez losing 4 spots in the space of only a couple of corners.
No, I was out to sea there as well. This is the battle for 7th, believe it or not. So Fernandez led that across the line. Now he's down in about 10th. So leading that at the moment is Aji. So the Indonesian having a great end to the season. As you can see, Salvador has dropped back, but now Artigas, it's more of a leading group of 3. I'm not sure Garcia's dropped a little bit, but I think he's had to do that because Holgado just doesn't have the pace at this stage of the race. I think Garcia, if he can get his head down, a good final couple of sectors here, he might be able to get in that slipstream and pulled along down that front straight. At the moment, though, Artigas still leading.
Yeah, the problem, Gado and Jose Julian Garcia made up our top 5, and it really was a 5-way battle for that race lead. Only just over half a second separating that group, and we'll expect to see much more of the same during the course of this afternoon's race. Lorenzo Filon was able to finish inside the top 10 in front of his teammate Jose Antonio Rueda. Joel Kelso was able to back up yesterday's top 10 finish with another points-paying finish in 12th position. Max Cook, the British rider for the British Talent Team, he was able to finish inside the points once again. Podium riders will get the chance to stand.
Let's hope they're not too premature for those 2 title contenders. Artigas now going into that last race. He has got to take points out of Guevara and even more. These are the title standings. 188 to Guevara, plays 169 to Artigas. Acosta 28 behind, mathematically out of it. He is safe in 3rd though. He could take 2nd if something happens to Artigas, and we've seen that already this weekend. Garcia there in 4th. He looks relatively safe. 5th is Daniel Holgado. All the way down the field, Max Cook there in 12th, doing the Brits proud, as well as Scott Ogden. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back from that misdemeanor earlier on in today's race. Lorenzo Filon back inside the top 10 in the race and back inside the top 10 in the championship. But it's all really about your title battle. Guevara ahead of Artigas. We wouldn't have predicted that a few races ago, but for sure we have got a monumental battle to come. The titanic tussle for Moto3 supremacy in the CV Repsol World Championship continues.